Yeah, very talented group. They make a lot of plays, skilled skate, shiftiness about the way they get around the rink. I think very high individual skill level. And they've had a good tandem in goal. They've gone back and forth, and each have had some really highlight nights to their performances. And with the balance back end, I think when you see their scoring, it's really spread out and balanced across the four lines up front. And there's a reason why they've been winning. They've got a good combination of and a good mix of players.
Defensive core has been pretty strong this year with the freshman Murr and then Wheeler getting some press this week with his first career goal. Are you happy with where your defensive core is at right now, or what are the things that you'd like to see from them?
I mean, I think D's are in such a growth spot of their lineup. You're looking for D's to, if we can get to the point of not repeating mistakes, I think that's a good growth spurt. And I think we're getting closer to it. But the one thing I think a lot of our D complement one another, whether it's some handiness on one side of a pairing and the sturdiness of another, and I do think they're working hard to just to get a really good identity for themselves there as a core itself.
Open it up now for questions for Coach Strand. Anybody can just jump in.
Coach, how impressed are you with what St. Thomas has done in a very short period of time since going to Division One to where they are, now in the midst of this season where they're, at the top of the standings right now?
It is. It's impressive. I think that balance of skill and Rico did a really nice job, and his staff with I think having a plan to identify what type of player type and team type that they want. They've got the speed. They've got skill. They've got some recruits coming down the pipeline that are a little bit, maybe giving them a little more size down the road as well. So, they've had a few guys here, through the whole portal process that have either come or gone, and but he's really laid out a really balanced roster.
Coach, your team right now, are you pleased with the progression of where both the specialty units have come along at this point?
Yeah, there's moments. It's weird. Like the goal against on Friday is a kind of a classic. You see Souds catch an edge and go face first, and you see the one play possible on the rink that to be able to make, and they make it. And then you watch the next night at 6 for 6 on the kill. So it's kind of goofy. The power play wise, we've got some numbers. There's been a couple goals there, which internally we count them as power play goals, but they're the 2 and the 4 seconds after a power play just expired and they score. So they should have a few more on the board than what's actually been credited for them, just because of the momentum that they generated. And it was never ever a 5-on-5 scenario before they scored. But there's some growth steps that I think you got to find a little continuity. I think we're getting some guys in the right seats and the right spots on the power play side of it, and then on the penalty kill side, to go back to that, I think there's just been some. If there is a growth spot for our D, I think some of the Ds have done a nice job on the penalty kill, so that's really helped us as well.
Coach, obviously St. Thomas is obviously the closest school to you. As they kind of get their program more and more established here, do you feel like there's an opportunity for this to become, one of your biggest rivals and something that is really a highlight when you do play them?
Oh, I agree. I do think that's going to be the direction it's going, Kevin. I mean, they're, private school, not far away. They got a new rink coming. All of those factors, I think, they've done it's interesting. I think when you get in the recruiting pool of players and you kind of sift out who they're dealing with, and sure enough, St. Thomas is one of the numbers that they've tagged a little bit. So they're doing a really nice job. And Leon, I know, is on the road a ton, and Rico's they've just done a really good job of putting that thing out there. But I do think the the head-to-head competition of proximity is going to emerge as a great rivalry.
Coach, these back-to-backs, are you a big fan of them? I don't know if you've had necessarily a ton of experience with them. Do you like the fact that the Friday game is home and then you're on the road on Saturday? Would you rather have it the other way, or you just let's dress up and you'll play whenever they drop the puck?
Well, I think, Don, you know me. That's way more my attitude about it. But I do think a home and home gives there's a new flavor. Like when you go to their rink on Saturday, it won't be we'll have kind of rubbed each other off, the wrong way on Friday and got to know each other. So when you get there on Saturday, there'll be a familiarity. I think some of these series end up being when you're playing the same team side, but back-to-back nights. The first game is a little feeling out process, and then I think there's some maybe scars going into the night too. And so when we get to St. Thomas on Saturday, there'll be, I think, a real familiarity with one another now that we've gone head to head.
Any updates you can provide any of the guys who have been out of the lineup with injury lately?
Not much on Tony. It's still day to day. I think if anything, he's kind of plateaued a little bit. I think he had some signs of maybe getting closer, and maybe that's faded a touch. But he's working hard. Morvik is the closest he's ever been. He'll be getting on the ice here, getting some clearance coming up here in the next, hopefully 48 hours or so. We'll be able to see him skate. It's been a while since he's been even on the ice. So that part, those are kind of the two big ones. Obviously, Rancier's been back in net and feeling pretty good and healthy on that side.
And one of your big points of emphasis last week was to get off to faster starts in games. Did you feel like you did that this last series on the road?
I thought we did. I thought we just played a better brand of hockey. It's actually it's not a joke, but it's an inside going of our group. Like we go on the road and we play a kind of a blah, good, hard road game, and then you come home and you try to make some silly move that ends up in a turnover because you're in front of the home crowd. So we've got to find that out as a group because I do like our road starts have seemed to be better.